chat box if you have attended his earlier sessions and write the name of the session that you attended. It will be nice to know, to see people coming back on this platform. Dr. Gokani, again, familiar name to you and doesn't need a formal introduction on this platform. He's a specialist in diabetes and metabolic diseases, runs two clinics, and is a consultant at the Bombay Hospital. He has earned his postgraduate degree course in medicine from the Grant Medical College, which is affiliated to JJ Hospital. His research paper in diabetes has been published in The Lancet, a medical journal published in UK. Dr. Gokani has also conducted several seminars, lectures, and workshops on subjects such as stress management, diabetes and all its complications, alternate medicine, nature cure, and at times subjects like hope, faith, solitude, aging, and a host of other issues. He's a panel doctor for Castrol India Limited. He has also conducted several youth camps for Cathedral and John Cannon School, Villa Teresa School in Mumbai, and El Pro International School in Pune. Dr. Gokani has been appointed as a trustee of Bombay Medical Aid Foundation, with which he has been associated for several years. He also has been conducting seminars on diabetes awareness, all aspects of diabetes, lifestyle and health, cardiac diseases and rehabilitation, youth issues, especially on values, ethics, self improvement, and also naturopathy. Stress management seminars covering body, mind, soul in health and diseases. He's already done food for body, mind, and soul on GetSetUp platform. Several seminars on Gandhian thoughts and philosophy in Sevagram at the Institute of Gandhian Studies, the MGM Medical College, and Kasturba Hospital in Maharashtra. He's also done it in Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and other states. He's participated in Gandhian activities in India and in France. Some of his interests, areas of interest: treatment of chronic disease by unorthodox treatment, that is raw food therapy, role of nutrition in disease, and the treatment of disease with nutritional adjustments. Those of you who have been listening to him are already by now familiar that he is a doctor who focuses more on nature and nature cure. Dr. Gokani, welcome once again to this platform. And before you start, I just want to let all the participants know that we will be taking the question and answers toward the last 10 minutes. But if you people have questions or comments while the talk is on, please keep putting them on the in the chat box. I will try to read them out and take them as doctor is talking on the topic without actually interrupting his flow of thoughts. And I also have my colleague with me here who will help us out, help us manage the chat box. So until then, we are going to keep you on mute. But rest assured, the last 10 minutes, we're going to take the question and answers. Dr. Gokani, please.
Thank you, Binda. As always, your glowing comments at the beginning and my rejoinder. So this time I won't make any rejoinder. I'll have I'll get straight to the crux because this is a long subject. And your introduction already said many things about what I'm going to speak about, but now I'm going to go into the depths of it. The subject today is naturopathy. Its name itself suggests that it's the science of studying nature. And not only studying nature, it is studying nature, how it affects human health. So I don't think there's anyone in this audience or anywhere else who has any doubts as to who is in the driver's seat in as far as human health is concerned and nature is concerned. It is nature that created us and nature that destroys us and the nature that maintains us. And the sooner we come to terms with that fact, the more we will be able to gain from nature rather than fight against nature. And when we fight, however hard we fight, we always lose. So it is extremely important that we respect this term, this phenomenon called nature. And therefore, I'm going to talk to you even as an allopath, why I believe nature cure is important. Because in my practice, ever since the beginning of my practice, even when I joined medical college, I had the fortune of being influenced a lot by the family and our family associates in the field of nature cure. Because we grew up in a building where there was a nature cure doctor who we often were taken to, and at that time we used to be very skeptical about his treatment. But as I grow older, I realized that what he did was so good and was so principally sound that I later on apprenticed with him in terms of a philosophical relationship wherein he taught me a lot of his science. And then I read a lot of it on my own. And therefore, today, what I'm going to share with you is the essence of years of experiencing nature in the healing of mankind. So, as always, whenever you study something, it's important for you to know the principles, the rules, and the and the and the principles that govern the entire subject. So, when you come to the principles of nature cure, there are 6 principles which we have to pay attention to. And principles are something I said earlier also in one of my lectures, that a principle is like a stone wall. You can hit yourself against it, you will get hurt, but you can't break it, because as soon as it is called a principle, it becomes a stone wall. You don't make it a principle otherwise. Otherwise, it is called a theory, or it's called a assumption, or it is anything but principle, or not law, neither law. So a principle and law would be the same. And we're going to talk about the 6 principles of naturopathy. And the first is very important. Is said first. It was said in Latin first. No nocere. No nocere is called do no harm. So in a physician and patient relationship, first and foremost is that the physician should do no harm to the patient. Many times in allopathy also they say do no harm, but they don't stress it. And therefore, many things which we do in allopathy can harm the patient in other ways. And therefore, it takes a very discerning and a very dedicated physician to employ do no harm and still use the instruments of allopathic medicine freely on a patient. Most of the times I spend in scrutinizing such kind of instruments that we get. Instruments wherein I mean facilities, means drugs, means investigations, means surgical procedures, and so on. So if we first make the principle do no harm, then we are looking to see the benefit of the patient and nothing else. There are no other benefits more higher than the benefit of a patient. The second principle is nature heals. This is not an assumption, this is a statement. It is a statement saying that nature heals. Nature heals, and I put into bracket, if allowed. If we allow nature to heal, it heals. If we keep interfering with it, it keeps on trying, it never gives up. But in the bargain, the patient loses a lot of his own vitality. And then sometimes it's even difficult for nature to heal. Nature may repair, but it leaves behind a scar. So nature heals is a second principle. The third principle is identify and treat the cause of a disease. Now, we sometimes don't understand what is the difference between cause and effect. You come to me or you go to any physician and say, doctor, I have a headache. And if the doctor says, okay, if you got a headache, you take this crocin and you will feel better. You go home, you take the crocin, you feel better. For 6 hours, you're fine. And after 6 hours, again the headache creeps back. And again you take a crocin, and 3 or 4 times you take the crocin and your headache doesn't go. And then the doctor says, do a CT scan. The CT scan being normal, they continue with this. And then by some virtuous luck, the headache goes away and you are okay for a while, but none the wiser. because after 6 weeks or 5 weeks or some interval, the headache may come back and you will do the same thing. But now when you do the same thing again and again, when you keep exposing yourself to the effects of a drug to lower the headache, you are unwittingly hurting your stomach and kidneys. And in doing so, at the end of it, you might land up with hypertension because of subtle kidney damage, or you might land up with a destroyed kidney and renal failure, which has happened so many times in my practice over 36 years. And therefore, it's very important to understand that any disease, identify the cause and treat the cause. Let me take the headache example. You've been out in the sun the whole day, you've been shopping, you got busy, you're not concentrating on yourself, but you're concentrating on all the various things that happen around you. Let's say a visit to the mall and thereafter a visit to an open air shopping center. You come back in the evening and say, it was such a lovely day, but now I've got a splitting headache. And you sit down and then you say, let me reach out for the crocin and take it. And after that, you get nausea and then you feel ill and then you vomit and then you contact the doctor and so on. You know that train of events. But suppose you sat down and thought and said that I don't think I've had enough water today. I've had my lips are dry. I don't remember when I went to the toilet last. So let me start drinking some water. And then you take a glass of water and keep on sipping it. You have a kind of you have one glass, thereafter second glass, thereafter the third glass. And as you drink more and more, the fluid goes inside and hydrates you. And as you get hydrated, suddenly you find after about 4 or 5 glasses that your headache is gone and you're feeling much fresher. And the dryness in the mouth is also much better. When this happens, you have actually treated the cause. The cause of the headache being dehydration due to lack of water and exposure to too much heat. So this is how we look for the cause of a disease, and that cause of the disease leads us to treating the effect of the disease, and then that effect goes away and we are much wiser. So the next time when we go to the mall or we are going to be exposed to the sun, we will make sure we drink water simultaneously, and then you will never get a headache again. Not at least not due to dehydration. You may get it next time due to lack of sleep. But again, when you analyze your reasons, you will come to know that you haven't slept well for last 3 nights, watching television, binge watching, on the phone all the time, or just busy in business. And you say, okay, let me catch up with my sleep. I sleep for a few hours, and when you wake up, your headache's gone. So look for the cause of disease, because the cause of disease, when treated, takes away the effect of disease. That's the third principle. The fourth principle is treat the patient as a whole. You see, many times the temptation is to treat the symptom which is concentric to one organ. You have, again, you take the headache example, or you take a stomachache example. There may be some problem somewhere else, and that problem has led to the other problem. So if you have pain in the legs or you have a backache, then you ask history. Like, for example, you have a backache. You don't give another painkiller to fight the backache. You deal with it with a history, and in the history realize that this person has been has not had exercise for a long time, possibly not been out in the open for a long time. And this is exactly what happened in lockdown. We've all stuck at home and not exercised for a long time, not eaten the right food for a long time. And you might find that your backache is due to vitamin D and calcium deficiency. So you don't reach out for a painkiller, but you treat the vitamin D deficiency. So here you're looking at the patient as a whole, and in the viewing the patient as a whole, you look at symptoms everywhere else also. And this is one of the most important principles of nature cure, that you can't treat an organ separately. So if someone says that, look, my head is you treat my headache, but I have a stomach problem for which I'm going to see a gastroenterologist, that treatment is going to fail miserably, because the stomach may be the cause of the headache, or maybe the cause of some other symptom. And that's the reason why it's very important for us to treat a person as a whole. And in that situation, we must ask a history related to other organs also. So that's the fourth principle. The fifth principle is the physician is the teacher. The role of a physician not to treat and give drugs. What I am doing today with you is the fifth principle of medicine, of nature cure, that the physician is the teacher. He cannot be treating you every time for the same ailment. And therefore, once you understand the principles of nature cure, you become your own doctor. And one of the basic end products of studying nature cure is that you become your own doctor, because there are no drugs involved, there are no procedures involved, and there are no investigations involved. It's common sense, and that common sense leads you to diagnosis and leads you to the treatment. You just have to make the simple changes necessary according to the principles of nature, and we become healthy back again. So this is as far as a physician being a teacher. And the last principle of nature cure is that prevention is an extremely important wing or chapter in nature cure. We must aim at prevention. When I started doing stress management seminars, it was with that viewpoint that I'll do prevention of diabetes. Because when I was treating diabetes, it was mostly patients come to me with complaints like I have a kidney problem and I have blood pressure and diabetes and I had a heart attack and my diabetes is uncontrolled. And I realized that these people are already burnt out. And as they are burnt out, I could only recourse to medicines, and everything was very difficult to administer to them. And so I decided that since stress seemed to be the root cause of all these problems, why not I go to the place where the stress is taking its toll? And so I started going to approach banks and schools and corporations and multinational companies, hotel chains, and started telling them that I can do stress management seminars for you, for your executives, and teach them how to stay healthy and how to make corrections in their lifestyle, such that they don't land downstream where I'm waiting at the end of the waterfall where they have all the diseases under the sun, and I'm expected to rectify them. So prevention becomes an extremely important wing of nature cure, which we must all be indulging in on a day-to-day basis, preventing disease. So these are the important laws or principles of nature cure. Now we go beyond that. So when we look at disease, there are two wings of nature cure which we need to understand. One is the prevention aspect, which I'll talk to you when I summarize the entire thing right at the end. But if a person is to fall sick, two phenomena are necessary to fall sick. If you understand these two phenomena, then it's very easy for you to treat yourself. The first phenomenon is deficiency. If you get any deficiency, you will get a disease, because a disease is a disordered normal functioning. So if you have a deficiency, let's say of vitamin B12, vitamin D, calcium, or carbohydrate, or protein, or anything, several things in your body will go wrong because those things are not available. And so deficiency becomes a broad heading for one of the causes of disease. The second is toxemia. Deficiency is the absence of an essential substance to the running of the body, and toxemia is the presence of an unwanted substance to the working of the body. When these two phenomena happen individually or together, that's when disease sets in. So if you have something that is not good for you and is present inside you, it will hamper the working of your body. And if there's something that is bad for you and is when it's something good for you and is not present, then your body can't function normal. And if something is bad for you and is present, then that also causes problem to your body. And therefore, deficiency and toxemia are the two root causes of all disease, except genetic disease, all disease. And this principle will hold true in allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda, or nature cure, or Unani, or any other science, because basically it deals with the human being. And if we understand how to analyze toxemia and deficiency, we have been able to identify the cause of disease. So it becomes very obvious. I don't think it's rocket science to understand that if you want to treat disease, then it has to be detoxification and replenishment. Detoxification is removal of those toxins from your body, and replenishment is addition of those substances that are vital into your body, allowing your body to return to normal in its perfect working conditions, and then expect it to start doing its own job. And when it is replenished and when it is detoxified, the body starts to get its own power back. And then whether it is COVID, or it is diabetes, or it is blood pressure, or it is heart attack, or it's cancer, we can win over it, provided we have detoxified and replenished thoroughly. There are no compromises in this. There are no shortcuts in this. You can't say that once in a while it's okay. Once in a while is as bad as every day, but the degree differs. So when it comes to detoxification and replenishment, if one is sincere about it, the results are ensured. If you're not sincere about it, it's all theory. Then it's not possible to get back to normal. So when someone asks me, is diabetes curable? I say it's curable if you do everything that has to be done. And the everything that has to be done is so difficult that sometimes we just we can't do it. It was much easier for us to toxify ourselves and make ourselves deficient in a lifetime than to detoxify and replenish in 15 days. So if you are going to be patient, the timeline is, if you have taken 60 years to toxify yourself and cause deficiency in your body, give yourself at least 60 months of hard, rigorous treatment to reverse the whole process. If not 60 weeks. If you're optimistic, it may be 60 weeks, but 60 weeks is still over a year. 60 months is 5 years. So if you have taken 60 years to fall major sickness, you have to follow the rules for at least 5 years before you can pick up health again. Therefore, it's difficult, but not impossible. Nature cure can give it to you. Because when you return to nature, nature brings you back to where it created you. So that's about the two phenomena that cause you sickness and the two phenomena that help you to cure. You just have to reverse the two causes and you get your cure. So now we come to the crux. I have introduced the subject. Now, if I have to teach you the body, then we need to know what the body is, how it gets ill, how it functions, and how nature and the body can work together symbiotically to be able to bring back that old state of health which we may have lost down the line. So this is what brings me to the Panchatattva. Now you have discussed Panchatattva several times, I suppose, in these sessions. But those who are new to that game, then let me just enumerate them. The first is earth, the second is water, and then is air, then is fire, and then is sky. The two tangible ones are earth and water. And the three intangible ones are air, fire, and sky. So today we'll deal with the two tangible ones, and the three intangibles we'll deal with in the next lecture. And then we'll summarize the whole thing. So how does earth play a role in our body? You have a macrocosm, that's the entire globe. It's a macrocosm. The actual macrocosm is the entire universe. Everything in the universe is belong to the macrocosm. And in that macrocosm, there is a tiny dot, which is the microcosm. And that microcosm is the human organism, or it is any life. So we are a microcosm of the entire macrocosm. Therefore, the constituents that make the entire macrocosm are the same constituents that make our microcosm. And we obtain our raw materials from the macrocosm. So there is an earth outside the body and there is an earth inside the body. The body is earth. You know that when we perish, we return to dust. We return to the earth. Anything that perishes returns to the earth in its raw material form and is rebuilt again and becomes again another creation. So this is a microcosm versus macrocosm. That's the first consideration. Now, earth is comprised of land, because the water is the second part. The earth is water and land and is surrounded by air. It's got fire within it and it has got sky all over it, all around it. So we got these 5 elements, and these 5 elements, when taken in the right proportion and mixed and created into a human being, the human being has the same 5 elements. So a human being is also 70% water and 30% solid. This is the ratio the earth is. Earth has 70% oceans and seas, which is water, and 30% is land. And this ratio keeps the earth healthy and the human being healthy. If you disperse that ratio, if you disturb that ratio then starts to create problems. So I'll give you an example. When Marine Drive was reclaimed, Marine Drive in Bombay was reclaimed. It was all sea first, and about half a kilometer first, and then further 1 kilometer, and now even more. These are reclaimed. They have reclaimed the land, and when you reclaim the land from the sea reclaims reclaims its own self from the land somewhere else. So I remember in our young days that a large section of land suddenly just got separated from somewhere between Andheri and Borivali, and there was a huge break in the land. The land just dissipated into the ocean, or the ocean just came and encroached on the land. And the reason was that the sea will always find its balance. You can't take it away from there. So you take it somewhere and it will take away from you somewhere else. And this game goes on. So this is as far as the ratio is concerned. We have earth is mud, sand, stones, rocks, and everything that grows in it, which is visible, which is palpable. And these are the trees, and the trees bear fruit. There are shrubs and bushes, which are and plants and crops, whichever we grow, from where we derive our food. The food is derived from the earth, and then that food goes into us, and that derives our body, which is then translated from earth to our earth, and that's how we become tangible human beings. So how does the earth help to keep us going? Our body needs seven ingredients for diet, for our maintenance. We were born with a certain starting capital. We were born as a human being with a certain starting capital. After that, there was growth, and then there was maintenance. So whilst it was growing, we required more than everyday needs. So we kept supplying it, initially from mother's milk, which is also liquid and solid. And then after that, from our food. From our food, we need carbohydrates, proteins, fat, vitamin, mineral, water, and fiber. Out of these, carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, and fiber are all coming from earth. Water makes it in a liquid form. Water is the next chapter. So if we get these constituents from our food, then we keep on being nourished, keep on remaining healthy, and that's how we maintain ourselves. So the question comes, to maintain ourselves in a good shape, we'll repeat some things which we have learned in earlier lectures, and that is, there is a proportion. In childhood, when we are born, in infancy, we have a proportion which is ready-made. Mother's milk is carbohydrates, proteins, fat, vitamin, mineral in water, arranged in the proportion to the needs of that species. I already defined milk for you, and that milk is perfect for the growing child. As that child grows and reaches a point where it can handle adult food, it will start getting first mashed food and then better food. And if you look after this food and keep it as natural as possible, then it becomes it will become perfect uh, for the child's development. But if you interfere with that food from the foundational years, then that interference will start the foundation and process of deficiency and toxemia. The wrong things coming into the child and the right things being denied to the child, and the physiology starts becoming disturbed. So this is a very important understanding that in life, in order to remain healthy, it's very important that we maintain carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamin, mineral, water, and fiber in the proportion needed by our body. So who knows, and how do we know that this is needed and how much is needed? This is a bit of a theory which I must explain so that you can understand and remember it or grasp the meaning, because otherwise the meaning is very elusive, very complex, and difficult to understand. You imagine there is a inventory inside the head. Inside your brain, there is an inventory. That inventory says that I need this much, this much, this much to maintain my health and my body. Just like a lady has an inventory of every article and every food item in her kitchen. You imagine that inventory. It may be a long page filled with notes, and in that it will be the number of vessels, the number of gas cylinders, the number of cooking utensils, and all kinds of food and the amounts that they are needed to maintain a household with continuous running. And every periodically she will conduct a survey, she will take an inventory, and she will make a note saying that I need 1 kg of wheat, I need 1 kg of bajra, or half a kg of bread, and I need 2 liters of milk, and my tea is getting over, and my coffee is getting over, sugar is getting over, and so on. She make the entire list and send for the grocer and say that please supply me all this. And when she supplied all this, all her boxes are again topped up, and she is good to go for another few days. And this she keeps doing periodically. So Mother Nature does the same thing for our internal kitchen. It has a list inside the head, and that inside the head list is continuously analyzing which food item is less in your body. So if it is down on carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, or vitamins or minerals or water, then message is sent from the inventory to the lower center, which is the appetite center and the thirst center. So you start feeling hungry, which is a call for procuring food. Or you feel thirsty, which is a call for procuring water. If you learn to recognize that, then you know exactly when to procure the food. You don't have to be taught that. As soon as you need to procure food, you procure it. Now, some people say, I have a sweet tooth. I crave for fruit. I crave for sweet. Now, I'll tell you why they crave for sweet. Because carbohydrate, vitamins, and minerals, the three of them burn together to produce energy. So when you have expended a lot of energy, these three elements will become less. And these three elements are available to you in sweet food products, because carbohydrate by its nature is sweet. If you choose a natural sweet product like a date or a fig or fruit or vegetables or anything that is naturally sweet, naturally occurring, it will contain carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals, and water and fiber. And as soon as you eat that, you will be satisfied, and you stop eating. So when you stop eating, you become satisfied, and that's it. So your body keeps on running well. And the same principle applies to all other food. So once you have this concept in mind, you know how to choose your food. I have earlier discussed about the rules for eating. Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, combine salads with cooked food, have fruits at a separate time, and have small frequent feeds. These 5 rules we discussed earlier twice, and so I don't wish to dwell on them. If you use your food to maintain your body, you have used earth to maintain your health. And this, when switched to natural food, becomes the crux of good health. Now, as far as water is concerned, water is used in many ways, but the first thing is good hydration. And the most important principle of good hydration is drink water according to thirst, and drink water sip by sip. If you drink water sip by sip, you retain it in your body, allow it to reach every cell in the body, and every cell works perfectly, giving you a sense of well being. You drink water rapidly, it will go directly to the kidney by mechanisms which I don't wish to discuss here, but it goes directly to the kidney and then causes prolific passage of urine, but the rest of your body remains dry. And this fact is very important to implement in order to hydrate well. And when you hydrate well, it is like spring cleaning your system, because water is the best cleansing agent, goes to every cell and cleans it up. So if you can maintain the ratio of 70 to 30, then you have mastered the use of water in the treatment in nature cure. Now, earth and water can also be used from outside. For example, there are some things called mud packs and so on, but I don't wish to go here because that's a practical issue. And water is used in drinking water, but sometimes it can even be used as enema to clean the gut, and it is used also in external cleansing, which is also a health giving thing. So you have sitz bath, and you have a whirlpool bath, and you have a simple warm water, hot water bath, or you have steam inhalation, and all these are nature's methods of restoring good health. So with these I've finished earth and water. I'd like at this point to take a break for questions if we have time, Binda, and we
Yes.
can next time for the other 3 elements.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. And certainly, there are quite a few questions coming in already in the chat box, and I invite the participants to keep posting their questions in the chat box, because that will become more convenient instead of allowing you to speak. So I hope you understand. So let me go to the question. Neeta had asked in the beginning that how can, I mean, can we? Is it good to start with probiotic yogurt? Start your morning with
No,
probiotic yogurt.
there are no rules like that you should start with yogurt in the early morning. If yogurt suits you, because that again in the last lecture we had discussed that yogurt is a if you don't digest it, it turns into mucus, and then you might have more illness than benefit. So if it suits you, you have to figure out your own body and find out which is the best time for you to have it. It may be it may be at the meal times, it may be in the afternoon and not in the evening, but your body is unique to yourself, and therefore you should try and understand which food contributes to your health and which food is detrimental to you. You know that saying, one man's meat is another man's poison, and therefore you discover what is meat for you and what is poison for you. And that's the whole discovery of nature cure, because nature and you have a unique relationship with each other, and therefore no one else can decide that for you.
Thank you, Doctor. I am not, I don't recall, but there's a message from Hema. She wants to know if you have a naturopathy center in Hyderabad. Please send the address. I don't think you
It's a very good
referred.
center in Hyderabad.
So,
There is a very good center in Jaipur, and there's a very good center in Uruli Kanchan near Pune, and Hyderabad and Bangalore. Outside Bangalore, Jindal's has a naturopathy farm, but they all have a little bit of twist, which is very typical of the person who runs it. So nature cure is best done at home, and your home should be conducive to nature cure. If it isn't, then you go anywhere also, it is all artificial. So to return to nature is to go back to all the natural principles.
yeah. So it's nice to know. Dr. Beena mentioned in the chat. Great to have you here again, Dr. Gokani. I was brought up in an environment where allopathy is the best, was the slogan. But by now, I accept first Ayurveda and so nature and homeopathy. I want to know the difference between Ayurveda and naturopathy. Naturopathy, as for me, they are interrelated. I think it's coming out in the talk quite a
Nature
bit.
cure is the entire fabric, and on that fabric, Ayurveda is the embroidery. Allopathy is also one corner of the embroidery. Homeopathy is another corner of the embroidery, but the entire fabric is nature cure. If you don't have fabric, the embroidery is of no use. But the fabric should be nature cure, and on that you can use all the other sciences, because I employ nature cure and at the same time use allopathy where it is necessary. And it's not that you be dogmatic and say only nature cure. Nature helps allopathy heal faster. So if on one side I give relief with allopathy or I buy time with allopathy, on the other side, nature cure does the real permanent healing. And those results are far, far superior than simply one of them alone. So as they say, the sum of the components are more than the arithmetic total of those components. So uh, it's very important that we use nature cure as a foundation, and the other things are as and when needed.
Yeah. So Neeru mentioned, I think while you were discussing, you talked about consuming water. She wanted to know warm water or normal water.
Depends on the climate, depends on your desire. If your climate is cold and you feel that you require some warmth, you choose warm water. And if the climate is hot, you take room temperature water, but never take extreme temperatures, because extreme temperatures make your body work harder.
So Dr. Sanjit has posted something here, but then I think we may not
You
have an
take
answer to this.
the question, those
How
who are already.
how to make uh, how to make the person see the facts and not the TV media movie proposed. I think that's out of our control, so we cannot.
No, you have to teach the person the discerning power of what you see on TV should not make you that person. You can use it as entertainment, but you should realize that your person should not be disturbed. But young children, particularly, you should control that TV, because it's like putting muddy footprints in the landscape of your mind. And those are very difficult to erase after some time. So impressionable people should be controlled on television. Rest of the people can enjoy it as entertainment for some time or learning for some time. Yet also spend your time more fruitfully, which is a completely other subject where uh, uh, time management becomes one of a very important subject. Maybe Binda, you can have a talk on time
Yeah,
management.
we've been having that. We've been having time management on this platform. So yeah, we have. So similarly, I think it's Nirmal Galaxy A70. Please talk about postural backache, which is there sitting and lying down for long hours. So we are covering that and take care of our back, your back, and various other sessions on this platform. So I'm skipping this because doctor is not covering that here. We just are taking the relevant questions here, okay?
Yeah.
Well, Deepak Singh mentioned walk on grass with bare foot. Is it beneficial?
No harm in it. If you like it, great. Walking on grass is always a lovely feeling. Being close to nature.
Also
It definitely,
wants to know, can beta cells regenerate by this treatment?
if you get a cut on your skin and if your skin can heal, then I think anything in the body can heal if given a chance. But if you keep cutting that cut every day, then it'll never heal. So if a coke is responsible for making a beta cell sick, and if you insist on keep on drinking it, that beta cell can't heal. But if you want it to heal, then you have to create the environment necessary to heal, which means go back to nature. And in that, you will have to discover what is good for you and what is not. Because some people feel like, for example, milk, they say milk is very natural. But when they drink milk, if that milk turns to acid in their body, it will go to the pancreas first and start burning the cells. So is a sum total of all the influences on the body, they will lead to damage within. So you might have a graph which goes down in bad days, improves a few days, goes down further, and that graph goes down like a sawtooth, because we are not patient enough to remain on the right track for long enough. As soon as we feel a little good, we are back to the same old habits. And that's the reason why our graph never goes upwards till a critical mass is destroyed, and then we suffer big disease. So it's always a conflict between what should be done and what we want to do. I think this
Thank you, doctor.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So okay. It's nice to know that most of you know that we are now open globally, and we have people joining from various parts of the country. We have a question from one of our learners from the US, Phyllis. She wants to know what is a reputable natural method for detoxifying and replenishing the body. I think many of you sitting here want to know the answer to this. So
yeah, I'll make it brief, though it is a very long answer.
Yes,
But
in short, if you can.
Detoxification, very important subject. And the 5 ways of detoxifying are, we detoxify through 5 methods. One is sweating, second is urine, third is stool, fourth is breathing, fifth is, we did urine, stool, fifth is vomiting, and sixth is also there, which I postulate is important, is tears. And these are the areas from where we get rid of toxins. If we can do anything that assists these 6 exit points, for example, if you decide that, okay, I wish to detoxify, then first stop putting poison into your system, which is a very important activity in nature cure, which is fasting. So you fast and you take rest. So you are fasting from activity, fasting from thinking, and fasting from food, and start having liquid. And the liquid goes inside and hydrates you. When it hydrates, it cleans every corner and comes out. So if your guts are being cleaned, you will get stools 3-4 times. So your guts get detoxified. If it is so much that you want to vomit, you will vomit. And when you vomit, you will feel much better. And so that's the second method. And third would be by passage of urine, because as the water cleans up the system, will pass out as urine. And if there's adequate water, there will be a free flow of urine. And the other methods like taking deep breaths like pranayam and so on is help to remove all volatile waste from your lungs. And if you are emotionally packed up and pent up, sometimes a good cry also helps. I don't say you should cry easily, but a good cry makes you feel better because it has got rid of a lot of toxins through your tears. These are the methods of detoxifying. After you finish detoxifying, you find that now your gut is completely clean, your blood is completely clean, the muscles are completely clean, and everything is completely clean. Now you replenish, and replenish would be a separate chapter wherein you reach out for natural foods, because they are all balanced in their constituents. And so you have fruit, you have salads, you have whole grains, and follow your appetite, which will tell you how much to take. So you keep taking this, and all the empty bottles and boxes within your body will start filling up, and your internal kitchen starts working well. And once it starts working well, your body get restored to normal, and that normalcy is called good health. So that's
Thank you,
about
doctor.
leukemia and detox.
So thank you, doctor. And that was a good question and answer. I think many of them got the answer to their questions. We have a last couple of questions, and then I'll come to Prakash. We have a few
Prakash,
minutes.
yes.
Yes. So it's actually a related question. Should we consume 70% water and 30% food? How many glasses in a day? So
you don't have to calculate that is 70 and 30, but if you choose water-rich food, for example, apple, orange, watermelon are all 70% water and 30% solid. Watermelon, in fact, is 90% water and 10% solid. So that's why it comes in summer. Nature also is very cooperative and gives you the foods which are rich in water in summer, and the denser ones which come in winter. So you have watermelon, you have cucumber. These are almost 90% water. If you consume a lot of these, you're keeping your water ratio very perfect. If not, you will start feeling thirsty. No sooner your ratio changes inside, you feel thirsty, consume water, sip by sip, 1 glass, 2 glass, and by the time you restored your balance inside, you stop feeling thirsty, and then your water balance is restored. But as a rule of thumb, nowadays in summer, when the country is going through warmth, I'd say 2 glasses or 3 glasses on waking up, each glass over 15 minutes, and thereafter at least 1 to 1.5 glasses every hour of your waking time. If you drink this much water, then you can't get dehydrated. You don't wait till you become dehydrated to restore the hydration. You prevent it by continuously hydrating. And we are losing blood, we're losing water in breathing, in talking, in passing urine, in stools, and rarely in vomiting. And this continuous loss has to be replaced. So you can't do intermittent replacement for continuous loss. So you do continuous replacement for continuous loss, and you'll be perfect.
Thank you, doctor. Can mango be eaten with cooked food is one of the questions Nina asked.
No, it's principally completely wrong. But traditionally, it is very popular. Mango juice and puri, mangoes with food, or mango juice on rice. These are combinations which.
This is the season for amras puri.
But the mango spoils, and you don't get the most out of that mango. So it's a question of enjoying the fruit separately and enjoying your food separately.
So Vinita, I think your question got answered to some extent. Please, about the water ratio in body. Uma wants to know, is it good to start the day and end the day with warm water?
It's a personal choice. There's no harm in it.
Divya, I think he talked about intermittent or small meals. Eating every 2 hourly and intermittent fasting helps in reversing diseases. We are just at the last 2 minutes of our session, but can we take this next time if you want to give a detailed answer, because intermittent eating, you talked about it. Reversal of diseases. So Divya, we'll try and take this in our next session.
Intermittent fasting, I can give the answer right now in a few lines.
Yeah. If it helps in reversing diseases, she wanted to know.
It is the most physiological way of eating, but it has been distorted beyond recognition by modern so-called health fanatics or health faddists. The fact that if you go to the most scientific religion, which is Jainism, because many of their rituals, though we don't understand them, are based on hardcore science, that you don't eat after sunset. If you don't eat after sunset, you don't eat when your digestive system has started to slow down, and therefore you ensure complete digestion. So if you eat before sunset, your solar energy, which energizes your intestines, is still present, and as a result, you can digest 100%. If you digest 100%, your food economics is perfect. The later you eat after sunset, the weaker your digestive system, the hungrier you are, but the lesser you'll digest, and then you get acidity, you get gas, and you get constipation. So that's how we get into sickness and toxemia. The second thing is, if you eat before sunset and then you eat at sunrise, you have automatically given yourself 12 hours of fasting. Now, in those 12 hours of fasting, when you break your fast in the morning, that is called breakfast, and that's why breakfast is called breakfast. This is the science which has been older than the mountains. And if you follow it, you have a 12-hour break. That is fasting every day, and that is intermittent fasting. So you have a breakfast after 12 hours of your dinner, and after that you have small meals throughout the day. This brings me to the 3 phases of digestion. One is the phase of elimination, which is from 4 a.m. to 12 noon. In 4 a.m. to 12 noon, 8 hours, our body is concentrating on elimination. So if you help it by giving adequate water, give fruit, and give other substances which don't need any digestion, then you have assisted the body to eliminate. After that, you have the period of ingestion or absorption, which is from 12 noon to 8 p.m. At that time, you eat all your meals, the regular cooked meals, and roti, sabji, dal, chawal, nuts, fruit, this, that, everything. All that would come from 12 to 8. And after 8, you don't eat anything. So after 8 to 4 a.m. is a period of assimilation. You imagine yourself going shopping. You have first from 12 noon to 8 p.m. you have shopping. You buy all the stuff. Then you come home and you sort out all the stuff. And you put all your stuff into cupboards, put them into your bottles and boxes. And from 4 a.m. to 12 noon, you throw away all the garbage that has accumulated after your shopping. And then you're ready to shop again. So eating is like shopping. And the entire body's economics is exactly like what you do when you shop. So if you understand these three systems, then you automatically done intermittent fasting. But intermittent fasting should not be misunderstood for remaining hungry or starvation. You need to get your nourishment at periodic intervals. So in the period in the morning after waking up, you can eat fruit till lunch. And then from lunch onwards would be your cooked food. But then again, each one must find his 8-hour session wherein his body works that way. So it's important that you learn the principle and then you temper it to suit yourself.
Thank you very much, Doctor. It was a detailed answer, and there were a couple of questions more regarding fasting. So I think they all got clarified and attended to. Yeah, Prakash, you haven't put it in the chat?
No, I don't know how to put it in chat. Actually, it is very difficult for me.
Okay. We'll take it as the last question. Yes.
Yeah. Can I eat fruits in the dinner time?
No, you don't eat fruit with cooked food.
No,
but if you
fruit, only dinner. Only fruits at the dinner time.
You can have any meal of only fruit, and it's perfect. Either
perfect.
breakfast,
watermelon, banana.
Don't combine it with other food.
Acha, theek hai. Okay.
Exclusively only fruit you can have.
Exclusively one fruit.
No, exclusively only fruit. You can eat as much as you like.
At the time of dinner.
You have to go careful. But if you're not a diabetic, then you eat as much fruit as you like.
No, I'm not diabetic.
It is according to your appetite. You must recognize your appetite while you're eating fruit.
Acha.
Because when you don't need any more, you will get the satisfaction message.
Yeah. I take watermelon every day.
That's your choice.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gokani. And there are so many messages coming in the chat box. They really want to, and people are saying 1 hour is too less. And today I gave more than 15 minutes for the Q&A and still they are less. We do understand. Yes, he's a storehouse of knowledge, and people are wanting.
It's one extra.
Yes, it's like that's why we are breaking in sessions into 2. But I'm glad you all are liking it, and I'm glad you all are liking it. Do give us your feedback in the link that you receive, and also those of you who are on social media, don't forget to give your feedback and talk about the sessions that you're attending at GetSetUp. Tag us with the hashtag GetSetUp or at the rate GetSetUp. Let people who have not come to this platform or who haven't had the access so far learn about this also through you. This, in summary, he mainly talked about the principles of nature cure: do no harm, nature heals, identify and break the cause of the disease, treat the patient as a whole, the physician is the teacher. Prevention is extremely important in nature cure. And he also talked about detoxification and replenishment. Thank you once again for being here with us. And next Friday, again at 7 p.m., Doctor is going to cover the second part of this session. So don't forget to register and also share the link with your friends and invite them to come here. If you want to reach us for any support, you can write to siddharth@getsetup.io. Give us your feedback. If you're not on social media or you want to share your experience, you can still write to them. Or call us at 9321-439-549. My sessions on Monday, I'm going to talk about Omkar, the technique of chanting Omkar, and the benefits of.
Finally.
Sorry? Monday 3 p.m. and grandparenting in 21st century, that's going to be on Tuesday 5 p.m. After the session, you'll get some class notes. All those who have registered, this is the kind of feedback you will have, 1 star and 5 stars, and you also are welcome to add comments to that. If you're inviting your friends, when you log into the site, you will get this window. If you're opening it from the desktop, you can send the invite to your friends. You can click or send it on your mobile by email to your friends. So don't forget to invite your friends and your near and dear ones who can benefit from these sessions also. If any one of you want to host an interest group or co-host a session with us, suggest a new class, request any session recording, you can write to help@getsetup.io. Thank you very much. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Binda, and thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bindaji.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks, fellas. Thanks, Kamlesh, Tejinder,
Nikki,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.